Over in the pages of recent Marvel Comics, the character of Kamala Khan has recently returned to the land of the living as an X-Man during the publisher's most recent Hellfire Gala. Miss Marvel has already received her first mission over from Synch of the X-Men. Her job is to infiltrate the Orchis-funded tech program over at Empire State University. My name is Arico Braddock, and today, let's go ahead and explore how Kamala is operating the secret mission over in the pages of Miss Marvel, The New Mutant, Issue 2. Before we get deeper into the video, I want to encourage you to consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the like button over on our video. Undercover Under Orchis's Nose. Miss Marvel's mission makes her a target for Orchis, but they have no idea they're looking for a completely normal teenage girl in their summer science program. Thankfully, Iron Man and Emma Frost are able to stop by and show Kamala how to fly under the radar. Miss Marvel, The New Mutant, Issue 2 is written from Iman, Vellani, and Sabir Pirzada, featuring art from Carlos Gómez and Adam Gorham. We have colors coming in over from Erick Arciniega, letters from VC's Joe Caramagna, and design from Tom Muller and Jay Bowen. In addition, here is the cover coming in directly over from Sara Pichelli and Matthew Wilson. Really appreciate how this cover introduces some of the context of Kamala Khan as an X-Men, and I always love looking at the really curvy line coming in from artist Sara Pichelli. And let's go ahead and dive directly into some of these preview pages over in the issue. This first one is coming in directly from Adam Gorham. So over in the debut for Miss Marvel, The New Mutant, I was really flustered by how much of that comic book runtime was sort of invested into the dream sequences over in Kamala Khan's life. So it was really great to have a more abridged sequence over in this chapter. I still love how this one page also continued to reference some of Kamala's time as an X-Man as we get introduced to her operating out of the Krakoan resurrection protocols, plus some of the recent Marvel characters referenced over on this first page with like Jane Foster's helmet really caught me by surprise over in this chapter too. And I especially love the transition over from Adam Gorham to Carlos Gómez over in the comic book series. Really appreciate the more naturalistic artwork coming in from Gómez. And I really also liked how this issue went ahead and checked in over on the relationship between Bruno and Kamala that really started to develop in some interesting scenarios over in the last chapter. The way that the character of Bruno already starts to get a little bit of intrigue towards Kamala's dreams in the issue was really, really captivating. I really thought Iman, Vellani, and Sabir Pirzada did a fantastic job pacing some of those sequences so they felt really natural and lent a more cohesive vision towards this miniseries as well. I also thought it was really thrilling to watch Kamala Khan go undercover over at Empire State University. Kamala ends up being apprehended over for some Orchis drones really fast over in the comic book series. But the way that she interacts with Synch over in this sequence is really, really fascinating. And the solicit already gave away the fact that Kamala ends up running into the character of Iron Man Tony Stark towards the end of this sequence. Really thought the introduction of Tony added so much energy to the comic book page, and even seeing some of Kamala's reaction shots were also quite stirring here. The introduction over from Emma Frost in the issue from Carlos Gómez is absolutely wonderful. There's a really fantastic panel bleed captured on the page, and it's just really interesting to see that imposing force that Emma is able to strike over on the page. I really appreciated all of the elements that Emma lended towards the narrative. It really feels like she sort of grounds Kamala deeper into the status quo of Fall of X. It feels like there's some deeper implications between Kamala letting Bruno come so close to her over in the first issue. The fact that Orchis attacked the Hellfire Gala means that the X-Men are currently undergoing a really really harrowing status quo, and seeing Kamala not understand some of that context really felt true to her over as a comic book character. I also found it really interesting with how many plot threads started to converge towards the end of this issue. On one page, we get a reference over to Kamala's relationship with her roommate Michelle, as well as some of the lingering threat of Orchis trying to go undercover in Kamala's dreams. I thought this issue was paced so much better than the last chapter, and was even really taken with how both Iman Vellani and Sabir Pirzada were able to tie in some of these dream sequences in so many different elements of the plot here that felt so much more natural across this series. I also think this comic book has a really fantastic tone as well. It's a little bit lighter over in the series, but I really do think that thanks to the fact that characters like Omega Sentinel are lingering in the background of the issue, and due to the fact that the threat of Orchis is looming so large over the Marvel Universe, I still think the stakes in this issue are surprisingly high, even depending on which panel you're looking at in particular. Really thought that both Vellani and Pirzada led some great characterization over to Tony and Emma. I love the fact that they were able to go ahead and reference their current status quo over in the main X-Men and Iron Man titles where they are currently married. Seeing some of Kamala's reaction over to that in the issue led to some really fun and interesting dialogue. Also want to take a second and say that I think the dialogue in this issue is paced really, really well. I think a lot of the sequences between Kamala and Bruno are written with a ton of restraint over in the issue, and I still really like what I see here when I compare where their relationship left off with the last issue and how it slowly starts to advance over in this chapter as well. So at the end of the day, I think that Ms. Marvel, The New Mutant issue 2 was a really great chapter of the series that explored so many of Ms. Marvel's relationships, not only to her core family, but with the X-Men as well. Getting to see Ms. Marvel interact with two of the most important characters over in the X-Men universe right now was an absolute thrill. Really appreciate the additional characterization that this comic book has lent over to Ms. Marvel and the Fall of X status quo at large. In fact, I think this comic book is absolutely essential right now in fleshing out the current characterization over with Kamala, and I really hope that after this series comes to an end, there's going to be some suitable replacement that'll carry on much of the same tone to advance this really light status quo that I hope is introducing more readers into not only comic books, but with the X-Men titles as well. I want to know from you, what were some of your thoughts over on Ms. Marvel, The New Mutant? Did you enjoy this issue as much as I did? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for coming to check out our video review of the second issue. We'll be back to cover the last couple chapters of this mini-series and to see where Ms. Marvel and the X-Men are headed next. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.